It seems like Disney's been around since the dawn of time. It's always been a company known for adapting tales, but because of these thin laws, we're able to get away with borrowing and sometimes even outright stealing elements from other movies and stories, and it's something they still do today. Here are 10 Disney products you didn't know were ripoffs. Kind of. Finding Nemo, PIERROT le Poisson Clown. The great Pixar classic about parenthood and adventure caused controversy when author Franck Le Calvet sued Disney for plagiarism. The story of a little clownfish whose parent is killed and goes on an epic quest rings a lot of bells. Calvet initially tried to get his story made into a movie, but after multiple studio rejections, he released it instead as a children's book. According to Calvet, the popularity of Finding Nemo actually caused bookstores to reject selling Pierrot, thinking that the lesser-known fish was a ripoff of the Disney movie. Calvet's lawsuit failed, and as a result had to pay thousands of euros to Disney, who made the claim that Calvet had in fact ripped off their idea because of the close time frame in which they came out. Monsters Inc. Little Monsters. While Monsters Inc. is seemingly an original idea featuring monsters scaring children as part of a day job, its premise was lifted from another movie. Little Monsters is a 1989 comedy starring Howie Mandel as a monster who comes from a world full of them. How does he get to the human world? Well, rather than a closet, he gets there from under a child's bed. Not only does the Mandel monster have a similar design to Sully, but he also undergoes the same character arc, having to learn if it's right or wrong to scare children. While Monsters Inc. added a business aspect to the movie, and still an imaginative film, the influence from Little Monsters is undeniable. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, The Secret of Monkey Island. The video game The Secret of Monkey Island, which was inspired by the Disney ride and novel On Stranger Tides, had a huge part in influencing The Curse of the Black Pearl. Everything from the main character, his love interest, the antagonist, and even the voodoo priestess all came from this video game. While there is a clear lack of Captain Jack Sparrow, we do know that the video game was originally slated to be adapted to film by Ted Elliott. The project was ultimately shelved, and it seems that Ted Elliott just decided to use all the same material when making the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It's certainly a nice sphere of influence that a video game inspired by a ride would later be brutally ripped off by a movie based on the aforementioned ride. Everything comes full circle. The Incredibles, Fantastic Four. The Incredibles did well to be a successful superhero movie without a background in comic books. But while the story and characters are completely unique, the abilities of 4 of those characters were practically lifted from the Fantastic Four. Violet has the same powers as the Invisible Woman. Bob has the same powers as the Thing, aside from being a Rockman. Helen's powers are identical to Mr. Fantastic, and Syndrome is a scientific and technological genius just like Dr. Doom. While the plot is original, it would have been nice to see the writers attempt to come up with some more original powers, because despite there being a lot of superpowered characters out there, there's still a lot of untapped potential. It's even become somewhat of a meme that the best Fantastic Four movie is The Incredibles, which you're not going to argue with. Beauty and the Beast, La Belle et la Bête. While these two films might be based on the same fairy tale, there's no denying that the Disney classic borrowed heavily from the 1946 French version. La Belle et la Bête had plenty of original ideas and characters, including the arrogant villain who wants the beauty, who is also named Belle, for himself. While similarities are to be expected seeing as they share the source material, Disney did not claim the movie to be a remake of the 1940s classic, but borrowed numerous elements of the movie anyway. Other things lifted include enchanted objects that were present in both film versions, but not the original story. Regardless, both are classic films that are worth watching, but one did borrow heavily from the other, and Disney continues the tradition with a live-action remake starring Emma Watson. Star Wars, The Hidden Fortress. We're technically cheating, because this Star Wars film wasn't made under the Disney banner, but Star Wars is under the Disney banner now, so it counts. It's no secret that Star Wars borrows from a multitude of genres, including science fiction, fantasy, old-school fairy tales, westerns, and samurai films. One particular film that was a huge influence on Star Wars was Akira Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress. George Lucas was hugely inspired by the film, and lifted much of the movie's plot, including it being told from the perspective of the least powerful characters in the movie. Even the editing and cinematography style greatly influenced how Lucas realized his galaxy on screen, and asking Toshiro Mifune to play both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. While it's not abject plagiarism, so much was taken from The Hidden Fortress that had this movie never been made, we wouldn't have seen Star Wars at all, much less in the form that we know it today. A Bug's Life, Seven Samurai. Coming back to Kurosawa, we have A Bug's Life. a movie that, much like Fistful of Dollars, is not an official remake in any capacity, but takes hugely from Kurosawa's work. A Bug's Life is about a weak and lowly ant who wants to protect his village from a gang of bandits. He sets out to find warriors, only this time the twist is that he actually gathered a team of circus performers as opposed to actual badass warriors like in the original. While the concept of conflict over food between ants and grasshoppers comes from the Aesop fable, the plot of A Bug's Life is pretty much entirely lifted from Seven Samurai, being one of numerous films to do so, including the famous western The Magnificent Seven, but one of the only movies to put a genuinely unique twist on the plot. Toy Story, a Christmas toy. So there's this toy, and he's his owner's favorite, but he comes into a conflict with a new toy that arrives in the bedroom. This toy is a cool outer space themed toy who doesn't realize that they're not really an intergalactic queen of the asteroids. That's right, we weren't describing Toy Story, we were describing the 1986 Christmas special, A Christmas Toy. Pixar borrowed quite a lot from this short special. Its premise and its old stuffed bear mentor are all elements that would make it into the 3 Toy Story movies. In spite of this though, Toy Story does have a lot more to it than the Christmas special and the short TV series that followed it, and certainly plays on the emotions of the watcher a lot more. Toy Story is undoubtedly one of the greatest movie series of all time, but every now and then, we should go and take a look back at the silly but charming little Christmas special that started it all. Frozen, the Snowman. By far the most successful animated Disney film, Frozen was not immune to allegations of plagiarism. Animator Kelly Wilson sued Disney in 2014 as she felt that Disney had heavily ripped off her short in the first trailer for Frozen. Her claim was pretty solid, her argument being that the plot was exactly the same, with the snowman and animals fighting over a carrot before the animal eventually gives the carrot as a nose to the snowman. While the concept of animals and snowmen on ice could have been dismissed as a mere similarity like with Finding Nemo, the plot is identical. In 2015, Disney attempted to prove that the creators of Frozen had no access to Wilson's short. The judge rejected Disney, however, when a trial looked imminent, Disney and Wilson settled the dispute out of court. Mickey Mouse, Oswald the Rabbit. This list has the potential to ruffle a few feathers, so we decided to finish it on Walt Disney, the man ripping himself off. Literally everyone knows Mickey Mouse. He's the most iconic mascot of Disney. Children in the most remote regions of the planet know who Mickey is. Yet what few people know is that Mickey Mouse himself came from Walt Disney ripping himself off. Walt Disney originally created the character Oswald the Lucky Rabbit for Universal Studios. However, when Universal took control of the character, Walt Disney lacked the legal right to do anything about it. As a result, he created Mickey Mouse, a new character who he intentionally designed after Oswald and who was uniquely Disney's property. History was made, and to this day Mickey Mouse is the most famous cartoon character of all. Now, Disney owns the rights to Oswald again, and he's been slowly but surely making a comeback into Disney cartoons. We're sure Walt wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If there's any examples that we missed, then please tell us about them in the comments below. Until then, rate, comment, and subscribe for more updates whenever we upload. Thanks for watching!